Welcome back to Fearless Ferris Fire. So, I'm excited to show you today what I actually bought a couple days ago. More like it was gifted to me, but I'll just say I paid $5 for it. No joke, I'm really not lying to you about this. And you'll understand why I have to try to, say that I'm not joking when I got this for $5. So this is a 1958 Morgan 4.4. This Morgan is technically a +4 now, and I'll explain that more in the video. So, just give you a walk around. Oh no, my wiring diagram. This is my wiring diagram for wiring a radio from scratch, because I'm going to put a radio in this. But we can get in here. You can see it's quite a tight fit. The door latches like that. We can see we have a tachometer. We have a water temperature gauge. And we have the Morgan Signature Tri gauge. So we have your amperes, you have your fuel level, and you have your oil pressure. I'm thinking about adding a oil temperature gauge to this and a voltmeter to this, but we'll find that out in the future. Voltmeters, just because the battery in here, as you can see right there, is not the best. Well, it holds a charge for less than 6 hours. You can start the car about once with it every time you charge it, so that's the problem. We can see here that this is basically the main control board. We have right here, this is it's that front light that is sitting right there in front of the main grill. This is the fan, the radiator fan, because he added an electric radiator fan, and I'll explain why he did that later. And then we have the wipers, and we keep the windshield wipers here in the glove compartment. But those are the windshield wipers. You don't really need them. This windshield cleans itself off pretty easily, and soon I'm going to treat it with some Rain-X. And then we have some warnings here. This is the choke, horn, turn signal, and simply enough, we have the ignition. And when we turn the ignition on, you can see that that light right there turns on. And this is the start button. But as you can tell, we have no voltage whatsoever. And here, I can even show you, I have my work light up here because I was working on it a little last night. Just trying to figure more stuff out. But all we can do is we could show you actually how low how this battery is pretty much toast. So we're gonna have to pick a new one up, but we can jump start it we have been jump starting it during the meantime. But as we could see here, this is my little voltmeter, and tachometer and dwell meter. But let me turn the ignition on. So as you can see, you're looking at this dial right here for volts. And we're right at basically 11.8, maybe 11.7 volts. Turn the ignition on. We drop down to 11 volts, and we hit the start button, and we go all the way down to 4 volts. And then it takes us time, a little bit of time, to get back to that initial voltage. We turn our ignition back on now. It's down to 10 volts. We turn this fan on, and we bring down to 6 volts. We go to that big front light. We're sitting at 10 volts right now. We take it down. We drop almost 3 volts. And we turn the wipers on, and it bounces it. Horn. Not even enough voltage for the horn right now. We drop it 3 volts. 4 volts actually when we turn the horn on. Blinkers. There's not even enough voltage for the blinkers. So, that's our problem that we're dealing with right now. But, we're figuring it out. But so now, we look down here again. So that is our throttle. This is our brakes. And then, as you can see, our clutch is broken. So this does have a master cylinder for the clutch. That master cylinder is broken. So, and that's what I've been searching the web and everywhere to try to find. I've called a couple places, but they have not returned my calls. So, still working on that, but we'll figure it out. And then, down here, if we can focus, we have, the shifter. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pull all the way and engage a little spring, and we go into reverse. So, 4-speed. This car has a red line of about 6,000 RPMs or RPMs, and has a top speed of 120 miles per hour, about gauging roughly. I have not tested that, and that is the person that told me that's what he told me is the top miles per hour for this. We'll disconnect my voltmeter so we're not drawing the battery any more than we have to, and I'm covering the camera. I'm sorry about that. But now, what all the mechanics probably want to see is what engine's in this thing. So, quickly, before I show you what's in here, this car came stock with a Ford, English Ford, 4-cylinder engine, inline 4. So, that engine was changed, very early in this, and the owner that gave it to me's life of owning the car. He got the car in 1965, and that's when he started doing mods, is after that. When I got the car, all I had to do was add fluids to it, because he was really good about keeping the car nice. He drained all the fluids except for the fuel tank. So, I drained the fuel tank, and I added fluids to everything. And this car runs on premium fuel. So, here is our reason for having the electric fan is we have a Volvo B20. There's your serial number. 4-cylinder inline push rod style engine in here. This thing runs a 10W40, as most of these smaller engines do. 2 single barrel carburetors, and they have their dampeners on there. And he basically, when he was driving up from LA to, up to here in Nevada, he'd have to go to rest stops and let the thing cool down because he's going 110 miles per hour and it'd overheat. So what he did is he came over here, he added the electric van, he added a truck size, I mean this thing takes 2 quarts of oil, truck size oil filter, and expanded the oil pan on this engine to make it so that he can drive 120 miles per hour for 4 hours and not gain any heat, excess heat. Right now we're just running Napa 1040 in here, but soon, once I do the next oil change, I'm going to be running AMSOIL in this thing for the remainder of the engine's life. Problems so far that I had to encounter, when I got the car, I had to put a new fuel filter on, a new fuel pump on it, and the old fuel pump, what happened is just, I can't even remember the name for these, but, the connector where the hose connects to the pump, if you know, down in the comments, let me know, because it's bad that I am not remembering, but, one of those broke off, so, the pump was unusable, and the struggle for me to put the new pump on was, the lever arm that bounces on the cam, was a little larger than the center spacer, and so I had to basically file that out. I was a little worried that it wouldn't fit correctly, but it is working just fine. We're going to put hose clamps on all these very soon. And then right down here, this is our master cylinder for the clutch. That is what we're having a problem with right now, so we're working on finding somewhere to purchase or get, a master cylinder that will work. Coming over here to the other side now, we can show you that our carburetors on this engine. So right now our coolant is a little low. It boiled over because we were driving a little bit and we got a little hot and it boiled over, but that's what the fan is for. Didn't hurt anything. Here's our horn that doesn't even have enough voltage to run. Oh, forgot to mention, these are true knockoff rims. So as you can see here, this is a solid lead hammer. And what's really cool about these knockoff rims is that it is really an engineering feat right here. So we'll go to a side that's completely flat, just to show you best, or more flat than the other. And we could show you, so when you were sitting at the rim, just imagine that we're sitting at it like that. For tightening, you hit it here. And because it has a slope, it means that you cannot over tighten the rim. While when you are loosening, it hits more of a flat edge, so you have as much torque as you need to remove the rim every time. I mean, it is an amazing engineering feat, that it's very simple, but it is very well done. The slope there makes it so you can't over tighten it, and then just that flat edge makes it so that you can get it off every single time. I'm not going to remove one right now because I don't feel like trying to put it back on. But I just wanted to share that. And these do have true wire spoked wheels. The tires are tubeless, but you have to run tubes because they are unsealed spoke rims. Alright, this does run a generator on it. These are the two carburetors we run on it. These are the float housing. These are the oil dampeners. You can see we have a good amount of oil in them. Or it looks to be a good amount of oil. And we have two Ramflow Australian-made air filters. And what's really cool about this engine is we have a starter button right there. So while we're working on the engine, we can literally come over here, just pop the thing and test it's running. Our voltage regulator, So, you know, we have everything really, really simple and really, really nice. So, I think that is really all that I have to really share about this thing right now. But I will be sure to keep you updated about more stuff in the future. This is not planning to be a daily driver, for those that might be worried about that. This is just going to be a weekender cool car, but I think that really finishes it up. This is the real deal. It's not a kit car, as some people have said, oh, it might be, because the frame is completely wood except for 2 C channels running from the front of the car to the back of the car. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be sure to keep you posted on more stuff to come. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.